Hello and welcome back to A Real Horror Show, the YouTube channel dedicated to all things horror. Today's going to be a little bit different. Instead of talking about horror collectibles and the collection in general, it's time for us to talk about the new entry, the final entry in the new Halloween trilogy, the very controversial Halloween Ends. Let's get to it. Now, obviously, it wouldn't be as too interesting to have me just sitting here talking about Halloween Ends by myself. So, since it's a new film and we've both seen it, I thought I'd call my brother in, Jamie, to join me on today's episode. And we'll discuss this very controversial ending to this new trilogy.
First of all, thank you for having me. It's great to be back on the big screen.
Yeah.
Not as if I'm not here on the other side
Yeah.
at any other time when we're recording. But yeah, it is a very controversial, it seems to be the main word that is being chucked about.
I think we should say that, obviously, it goes without saying, but you can't be too careful these days, that this is our own opinions. And everyone's entitled to their own opinion. This has definitely divided the fan base in a clear 50-50. So we both fall in one end of that, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
But there's a lot to go into, a lot to talk about. So I guess we should just start with the opening scene.
Right, okay.
I mean, it was interesting going into it because I thought the opening of this new film was really strong and really impactful.
I thought it.
Oh, by the way, there's going to be spoilers. We're not.
Yeah, probably a good idea to mention that there is a spoiler alert, and
the whole thing's going to be spoiled. So.
Just going back on the thing about these are our opinions. I'm sure there'll be people out there who did enjoy it. The first spoiler is we did not. So it's probably going to be like more of a 10-15 minute
50% of people have just left the video now.
Yeah, it's going to be more of a criticism of the film rather than...
Yeah. There's some good points.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the opening scene was actually the one of the, if not the strongest scene, because it set the potential for it to open up into something so much better.
That's what I was thinking. It was interesting to have it setting up something new. And I was really surprised because before I saw the film, I already heard that it's got mainly bad reviews.
Yeah.
Which I kind of expected in a sense, following from Kills. But with that intro scene, probably my naivety, but I thought it was such a strong, really great opening as well.
Yeah.
Quite shocking. It had a great feel to it as well.
Yeah. Well, I was expecting Michael to show up.
So to be fair,
obviously when the lamp was tipped and Jeremy weren't there.
Well, this is what I've written down here is that it doesn't follow straight on from Kills as you'd expect. You'd think because Halloween 2018 and Kills was the same night, I thought, well, we'll do it again. It'll be right after, because Kills ended on such a... Well, it was a big end. It was the whole town facing Michael Myers. So I thought, it's going to get back into it now right away.
So
but
this was my biggest frustration with the film in general, because I had it in my head that, like you say, Kills ends and it's going to set up, it's going to be on the same night as the previous two. And we're just going to get that final battle, that final conclusion. Obviously, Laurie's already battle damaged. The trauma's there of her daughter being murdered. And I honestly expected it to basically just carbon copy Halloween 2 from the original series. And I'd be perfectly fine with that. I would have been absolutely ecstatic with that, really. Because they obviously have no issue copying, because they copied the Bob kill from the original one this time round. So I thought, it's set up. She's in the hospital. He's massacred half of the town. And now he's going to make his way to the hospital. And we're going to have a final battle, but with, obviously, the technology that we've got nowadays, updated CGI and more creative.
See, I thought the exact same thing as you, because... the hospital was even referenced, wasn't it? Because Alison works there now. You noticed there were so many references, as with every Halloween film in there, though.
100%.
Another thing, talking about the intro, just after the intro of this film, is that Laurie, I have a big issue with... Right, one of the biggest pros of the film is obviously Jamie Lee Curtis. Her acting as Laurie Strode You
she's fantastic.
cannot fault Jamie Lee Curtis in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
She's absolutely brilliant and a joy to watch. But I thought her character arc went in a bit of a weird way. This film is based 4 years after Halloween Kills. And my issue with this is that we see Laurie in this new film, and she's bought a new house, and she's talking about, oh, you know, I'm moving on kind of thing. And I just thought, you're telling me after the original Halloween, she spent 40 years in like
building a fortress,
building a fortress to kill Michael Myers, essentially, ready for him to escape, while he was locked up in an asylum and she knew he was. Now he's escaped, killed her daughter in the previous film, and most of the town. Oh, it's fine. He's out there in the loose. He's in the sewers. He's underneath my kitchen sink, but it's fine.
Yeah, let me stay in the town where it happened, and I'll just write a book.
Yeah.
Rather than the last time where I created an underground bunker which I could set on fire to kill him. So yeah, it's absolutely it's stupid. In all honesty,
I do believe that David Gordon Green and Blumhouse have got this trilogy backwards, because I think after the original Halloween, it makes sense for Laurie to try and move on.
Yeah,
you know, have that kind of soft opening. Then Halloween Kills happens, where, you know, her daughter gets murdered as well as most of the town. And then, like, Halloween 2018, which is definitely the best of the trilogy, but we will come on to that. It makes sense for her then to go full Terminator 2 Linda Hamilton, as my friend James said. Shout out to James. Linda Hamilton, and, like, you know, face Michael Myers. And it could have ended like how Halloween 2018 ended, with that fight against Laurie and Michael.
Yeah, I think
it was like backwards.
I think part of the issue is that they put too much into Halloween 2018. By the time they'd finished that one, there weren't anything left to give, you know. So obviously they had Laurie's weaponized house in that one, rather than you know, like you say, if they would have had her like trying to get over it, and it could have all been like a trap, like she could have been pretending that she was getting on, and then lured him to that final battle, that house in the third one. Yeah. That would have been so much better. But it felt like they'd run out of ideas, so they were trying to create a new idea, and they were mashing them all together, and it was all over the show. I mean, we didn't see Michael Myers to the first hour.
Again, we'll come into that as well.
I'd already checked out in the cinema, and I couldn't help but think, I feel so sorry for the fans who are super fans, because this is a 40-year conclusion, man.
Yes,
this has been going on for 40 years. And they missed the mark.
That was the next thing as well, with it being like a 40-year story. Essentially, it's wrapping up. So they think, what can we do in this new one? Let's bring in a new character we haven't even introduced in the first 2 films of this new trilogy, and make the whole plot about him. So what did you think about the meat of the film? Essentially, like the plot's not even, you know, about Laurie. It's about this new guy, Corey.
Yeah, and I mean, I think they tried to be too clever with how they've gone with the story. Like, so the story is basically like some evil is like just born, and it's pure evil, and then some evil can be created, and it's almost like he's the victim. Well, you know, he is the victim of the town really, because he's now the new villain, because Michael's disappeared. He's accidentally killed this kid, you know.
It's essentially an idea of evil spreads and it creates evil.
Yeah.
There's definitely an underlying message in this film, like Halloween Kills. Halloween Kills was obviously talking about mob mentality.
Yeah.
That was an underlying theme. In this one, it's about, I mean, I don't want to go too deep into it, but maybe it's talking about the news and the media, how they spread, you know, bad news and evil, and it gets into, I don't know what they're trying to say.
Yeah.
There's clearly something there. And I think that's why the 2018 film works, because as far as I know, there wasn't any message there. It was purely
and there didn't
Halloween,
need to be a message there. And this is a lot of the issues with modern Hollywood now. They try and put these tones in there that you think we actually give a shit about, which we actually don't. You know, this film should have been an hour and a half of Michael versus Laurie, and that's all it needed to be. It just needed to have plenty of good kills in it, fast paced, and then the final conclusion.
And I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing something different. Because as we've seen in the past, well, in this sense, yeah, but in the past, right, best example, which you brought up to me before, Halloween 3. I think a lot of people have kind of gone with this, that Halloween 3 was different. However, there's a difference with that, because Halloween 3, it wasn't, the story with Michael and Laurie already wrapped up in Halloween 2. This is the final film, the final story, the ending of like a trilogy and a 40-year story. You know, you can't just flip a Halloween 3 on it. Halloween 3 was its own thing, and put it this way: Halloween 3 is a cult classic, but this never will be that.
It's like taking Star Wars and getting to the Return of the Jedi and then making it about Boba Fett.
Yeah, essentially,
it makes no sense.
Yeah, like... it was backwards, and then following it from his perspective for most of the film.
Yeah,
I thought like it was really boring, and there wasn't enough Myers.
No,
I mean, even in the original Halloween's a slow film.
Yeah,
you know, this was a really slow film, and that's why I think they should have started the trilogy with this one. This, you know, with the whole backwards thing. But even though in '78, you know, it was a slow film and a build-up, but you saw Michael from near the start, and it kind of that helped build that up. Yeah. Whereas to this, you know, well, I don't. How do you even talk about Michael's introduction?
Well,
I thought he's doing like a Pennywise, hiding in the sewers.
He's hiding in the sewer, and there's a homeless guy who brings people to him for him to kill now and then, and he's just growing weaker. So we've gone from Halloween Kills, where he's massacred half the town, and he's just all of a sudden decided to, all right, yeah, sound. I'll just have a break. I'll just have a 4-year break, and I'll just stand in a sewer looking at a wall. Like, it just makes. Again, it makes no sense whatsoever.
Now, the thing with this is, I don't know what they were trying to do with the weird Myers and Corey storyline. Because Corey, this character, eventually finds Myers in the sewer. And they have an altercation where Myers is grabbing him by the neck and Corey looks in his eyes. There's something there about like seeing pure evil, and Michael lets Corey go. It goes, the whole plot goes... What I didn't want to go supernatural with the idea of Michael Myers. I think it takes the fear away from him, giving him reason or giving him. I mean, it's fine having him be pure evil, leave it at that, but don't bring these elements.
Well,
in.
that actually made it look like there were a story there. So for me, I thought the storyline were going this way. He grabbed hold of him, and he saw that there were pure evil inside him, so he let him go, and then that Corey's character changed. And like the Jeremy's father said, "Oh, the guy who I saw on the sidewalk, that weren't the babysitter that I knew."
I like that.
So I thought, well, maybe Michael Myers, Michael Myers is the body, but the evil is an entity that can be, moved. And the way I was trying to think of it was, well, maybe Michael Myers' body has got too weak, so he knows in this old frail body that he can't kill Laurie, so he needed to retreat. He risked dying too many times, and this entity was transferring into a younger body. And that's what I thought were happening, because all of a sudden Corey's like standing behind the bushes, he's shifting, he's bringing on elements of the shape.
Again, it had a lot of... even though I'm not a fan of the plot, I think it had cool ideas that would have worked as a standalone film or something like that, but not as the finale of the Michael Myers and Laurie story. You know? Don't make it someone else's. Very strange. But I think then it goes on Thelma and Louise, doesn't it, with Michael and Corey?
Yeah, I mean, like, he's then saying, "Oh, just show me the ways." So Michael then takes him on a training exhibition to kill some doctor who he don't care about.
See, even describing this film makes it sound bad, and we're just trying to tell you the plot, and it doesn't sound.
Our discussion is all over the show here. We're jumping from scene to scene, but the film itself is all over the show. There's no structure, and there's probably someone watching this who they can see the structure, but for me, I just could not get it. It was just everywhere.
To be honest, it wasn't very compelling. It was quite. I think I heard a lot of people sighing in the audience.
Oh yeah, so we watched.
People were fed up with it, really.
So when I went to watch it, the lights came on. Everyone just went. And I went, well, that's the first and last time I'll probably ever watch that movie. And then a couple next door said, that's 2 hours of my life I'll never get back. And it's very rare, like, I'll go and watch a film at the cinema and I'll check out halfway through, but I really had checked out of this movie.
Like, there's probably some parts of the plot that I might have missed just from just looking and just zoning out in some scenes. Also, what did you think of, talking about other characters in the story, Corey's pushed to this evil because... Well, there's many reasons, but one reason is because of like these bullies in this town, and I thought
the marching band.
It was so cliche.
The bully band geeks.
Yeah, it was just so cliche. I mean, it was good seeing the scene where they all got killed.
Yeah.
However, they messed that scene up with doing one of those annoying things that films do, where two of these girls running away from the killer, who's Corey at this point, and he's in a car and he goes to ram them down, and they run straight in the path of the car. They don't move left or right or hide behind anything. They run straight forward, and they can. There's no excuse for it. It had a lot of annoying stuff like that you could feel it in the cinema that people were just like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Like, really, it's just really lazy writing.
Yeah.
And speaking of lazy writing, there's that in the same scene when Corey's about to kill the girl trapped under a fence. One of the main guy in this bully group talks about people being dead, and then this girl says something like, yeah, and you're dead too.
Yeah,
and it's like, who talks like that?
You'd be saying, look out, he's behind you.
Yeah, run. Yeah. Get out of here. You know? It was insane. But speaking of kills, one of the highlights of this film, like all the trilogy, is the special effects work by Christopher Nelson. Now, his practical effects were definitely a highlight of the film.
We'll talk about the tongue.
The tongue. Now, the tongue was definitely...
That was good. I like
that. I mean, his work is just gorgeous, and he's done it throughout all three films, and it just gets better and better. That was truly
the actor playing the DJ were brilliant as well.
Oh yeah, he was a great character. He was just the comic relief the film really did need.
What was Corey's last name?
Oh God, I can't even remember.
Sandingham.
It's not worth remembering. Yeah,
Corey Sandingham. Corey Cunningham, you ugly motherfucker.
Is that a reference to Sean Cunningham? Maybe. I don't
maybe.
know. But also, just to go past this really quickly, Corey has this relationship with Alison, Laurie's granddaughter, and it's a really boring relationship. It does lead us to a really good cameo by Nick Castle, though, which was funny.
The Flasher.
The Flasher. But it was that was boring as well. That aspect of the film, I thought Alison's character was so out of character. Basically, as it comes to the end of the film, Laurie almost takes the role of like Dr. Loomis, analysing Corey, knowing that the evil's inside of him.
Yeah. She
tries to warn Alison, and again, another cliche, Alison doesn't believe her, and they fall out. And it's like, come on, Alison.
It's only the woman who's like saved your life
multiple times.
She's been
right about Michael Myers
being killed. I think you'd probably put a bit of trust into this woman.
But the biggest sin with that was at the end when Laurie and Corey have a confrontation, and Corey kills himself with a knife. And then Laurie, being such a smart character...
She already knows Alison's outside.
Yeah, she decides to take the knife out of the neck, which she didn't have to do, because it wouldn't have mattered anyway. It wouldn't have affected the plot even if
she'd already rang in and attempted suicide to the police, so she could have
if the police came, they'd be like, yeah, he's killed himself. It wouldn't have mattered taking the knife out. Yeah. But she does, and of course it looks like she did it. And then it goes into that thing, and I was like, come on. Now we're doing this where Alison don't trust her. But no, they change it 2 minutes later. Alison goes for a little drive, and she realises that Laurie was right and turns back round. It lasted 2 minutes. It was a pointless plot point that just annoyed me out of anything. It was out of character, and it didn't make sense.
Speaking of things that don't make sense, obviously Corey wanted to get revenge on this band, so he decides to run down into the sewer.
Now this is out of character.
Start to wrestle with Michael Myers, this absolute force of nature. Shouts, "You've got something I need," wrestles into the ground, rips his mask off his head, and runs off. Next minute, Michael Myers sits up like the Undertaker.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that coaxes Michael Myers to come out of this hole that he's been in for 4 years. And it's just like, how have you, a 21-year-old babysitter, well, 25 or whatever he is now, got the strength to kill this absolute machine?
Yeah.
And then
tackle him and take that mask
off. Then Michael just suddenly knows where the mask is. So yeah, I mean, it just so happens to be Laurie's house.
This is one of those aspects where I don't know if I was bored or what, and I just missed a plot point, but how did Michael know where she lived and where to go? I might have missed something.
2 minutes later, the back door opens, and out of all the houses in Haddonfield, Michael's appeared there. And then he reaches for the knife that's next to Corey, who's dying, and then Corey tries to grab his hand and stop him. But
how is this guy not dead?
You've gone there to kill Laurie yourself, and now you're trying to stop Michael doing it. What? What the hell?
It wasn't
and then all of a sudden,
clear what was happening with that.
Michael didn't have the strength to wrestle him off, but 2 seconds later, he manages to grab his head in his hands and snap his neck. So he has more strength now.
Who knows? I really don't know what they were trying to do, and whatever they tried to do, and if we missed it because it wasn't executed well. That's just the end of that.
Speaking of execution, do you want to talk about Michael's execution?
Yeah, so coming to the very end of the film, which was good.
Yeah, this is the best bit. Like,
again, the intro and the ending is great. All the stuff with Corey, all the middle was just...
I mean, you could
All
literally,
the film, it just needed to be Michael and Laurie.
Yeah,
It was their story.
you could have had Halloween Kills and then took the last 15 minutes of ends and just stick it on at the end of there and just call it a day at that.
Could have done, yeah.
And that's
Do it at the end of Halloween 2018. Do a one for even that would have worked fine.
exactly.
You know, but yeah. So coming to the end of the film, we do have the confrontation between Laurie and Michael, which I thought was really good.
And the fridge.
Oh yeah, Laurie, Michael, and the fridge that took down Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Now again, we go back to him being weak now, and I feel like this wouldn't, like Michael Myers would not be stopped by a couple knives and a fridge in the past two films. Now, if the film is trying to say that he's got to this age now where because he is a man, as we know, Laurie says in the film that he is a man, and he's old. So maybe that's where it was at, but it just again seemed a bit.
But I mean,
lazy,
I'm a man, and you're nearly a man. Michael had the power to lift that.
My mustache says so.
That girl, the young floozy with the doctor.
Yeah,
he picked her up by the neck and put a knife through her and impaled onto the wall.
Yeah,
and not many men would be able to do that.
Yeah,
but yet Laurie can fight him off. It was just his strength just varied throughout the film, and it's like, where's the consistency? Just having as this machine all the way through.
Definitely. But overall, I was satisfied with the end, and I think I was partly satisfied with it because it was the end of the film. So I was like, oh yes, we got to the end. And as much as I love Michael Myers, it was good to see some closure. The first closure that we've had since the original Halloween 2, because that's the only time. Yeah, it was only last time in all the series that Michael Myers is definitively dead. Was Halloween 2.
Well,
so it's good to see that again,
You think he's pretty dead when he gets his head chopped off.
What? Oh, H2O?
Yeah.
Oh, no, she swapped him with that.
I know, but that were really good writing, that, weren't it?
Oh, they better not do that. Oh, it was someone else strapped to the top of the car.
No, I don't think they're going to do that. But, you thought that was closure as well. But, there's no heavy breathing. You see his body get crushed. But
yeah. That was, and also one of the things I loved the most about this film was the final shots. That was impressive for me. Yeah. Because if you're a big fan of the original film, when it ends, it shows just still shots of the Myers house and the babysitter house and parts of the film that you're familiar with. And you hear Michael's breathing in the back. It's he's still out there.
Yeah.
Legendary ending. And this did the same thing, but with no breathing. I thought that's a lovely touch. That was a really good way to end that film. It was like peace, and I liked that. Again, the intro to this film was great.
That was brilliant.
It left me very naive, though.
Yeah, that scene was fantastic. And you thought, well, where's this story going to go? Because it's now the roles flipped rather than the kid killing the babysitter. The babysitter's killed the kid, and what's this symbolising? But
yeah, and overall, there'd been nothing wrong with adding a new character in the story. But ultimately, this is what I thought with the Corey character. Do you remember Alison's boyfriend?
Yeah.
From the last two?
Yeah.
I mean, I know they killed him at End of Kills, but they could have done something with his arc and just make him this character, Corey. I don't know. It's just like, why introduce someone new in the final film and make it about him?
I don't get it.
It's just a sin, really, isn't it? So overall, then, what do you think was good about the film? Because we all know what the worst parts are, and I think we've pretty much talked about that. But if there's something good you can take away from it, because there are some good points and aspects about it that I like.
I'm struggling. I mean, I really am struggling. Obviously, the end of the story, it's finally got closure. Happy ending. I honestly.
Well, Carpenter's score, probably the best rendition of the Halloween theme I've ever heard.
Yeah, I mean, that was good, but I mean, the 2018 one had loads of good scores.
I mean, that's the thing. I don't think any of these films don't deserve Carpenter's scores. I mean,
no, they don't.
The scores throughout all the trilogy have been incredible.
End of the day, the film were just sloppy. The writing was terrible. The storyline was dreadful. The acting weren't too clever. There's not a lot of good stuff I can take from it. I just walked out and I thought, I'd rather watch Halloween Resurrection than watch that again. And I might be sounding harsh, but like I say, I'm looking at it from the superfans' point of view, because the people who have loved it for 40 years and then they get treated to that at the end, it's almost an insult. And I think, why aren't people on set pulling this shit? You know what I mean? And saying, look, I'm warning you now. And we've seen Hollywood do it before when the Sonic movie, where they redesigned him after the fans' backlash.
Yeah.
You know, they've done a big promotional campaign about Evil Dies Tonight, this is the end. And it just showed Laurie and Michael all the way through this advertising campaign. It just makes you feel like you're stealing money off people who adore these movies.
I don't know about the trailers because I actually didn't watch them.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to... Because the last trailer showed too much. All trailers do nowadays.
But like all the posters and stuff, you know, there's nothing
of
Corey. Nothing of him.
Nothing.
So it's just so insulting, and it's a real issue with Hollywood, like, because it's just all.
Well, it's definitely an issue.
We know it's all about money.
Anyway.
Yeah, we know it's all about money. But I mean, I've been to the cinema twice this month to watch 2 horror films. Halloween Ends, and I went to watch Smile. And if I could recommend anyone who hasn't seen either of these films to go and watch a film, go and watch Smile, because it's fantastic and it's original, and I really enjoyed that movie. And for them to do this franchise dirty the way they did with that last movie, it's almost laughable. I feel like Jamie Lee Curtis could have turned around and gone, fans are going to hate this, you know. Like,
she did.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen her actual statement, but she did say something about, you know, there's going to be, well, it's to be expected, and well, you know, she's honest. And again, she was one of the pros of the film. She's brilliant as Laurie. Her acting's on point. Probably my favourite living female actress.
But is it the same? Like, you know more of this than me. So is it the same director, writers, and everything?
Yeah, David Gordon Green.
So how do you
all the way through?
How do you deliver something so good in 2018?
He got it backwards,
and then deliver this at the end.
Yeah.
I understand you've run out of ideas, but I mean, we had COVID, so this film should have come out last year, shouldn't it? And Kill should have come out the year before that. Yeah. So you've literally had another year to think about it when we've all been cooped up with COVID. So for him to not be able to think of something better than that is atrocious. Yeah. It really is atrocious. So,
and I guess in close, like I said, I think the trilogy would have worked better backwards from ends to the first one.
She should have been trying to get on with a laugh. I think if Laurie were trying to get on with a laugh and lured us in with that, like, oh, she's trying to move on, and then sort of like by the third film, got you, brought him into this maze, you know, where she set everything up and it's all been a preparation to kill him.
Yeah,
that would have been fantastic.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But I think
there's so many things they could have done better.
I think they basically just put too much into 2018, and they had nothing left to play with.
Literally.
That's probably why 2018 is so good.
I thought they wouldn't do a worse film than Kills, because I didn't like Kills.
I didn't mind Kills.
Well, they see, that's another 50-50 film, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you what it is. I didn't like Kills as a film in the sense of there was barely any plot. The plot was literally, Michael's going to walk from point A, he's going to walk to point B, his house. That was the plot. He's going to kill some legacy characters in between that we care about, but they're going to die anyway. However, Kills was a really entertaining film. The intro flashback scene was great, and also again, well, it was called Halloween Kills. The hints in the name. It was that was a slasher film. This wasn't. But that was a slasher film, and a great lead up to what could be. It was filler, but it was entertaining. But this is boring.
Well, I'll tell you why I like Kills, because I thought it was following like the traditional serial killer thing where they build up and then it's like berserker mode. Yeah. And that were Michael's berserker mode. And then the end one should have been the final battle. So I didn't mind Kills. I knew it was going to be a filler film, but I thought the conclusion would be so much better. I can accept that as a filler because we've got lots of kills, you know, lots of gore. Basically, what you'd expect from a slasher movie, but there should have been a lot more thought gone into that conclusion, and they didn't deliver, unfortunately. So what does that mean for us? Well, it's probably going to get rebooted in the next 5 years. Yeah, and we'll get.
What was it? Our friend Joe said something about, oh, in 5 years you'll get Michael in space or something.
Yeah.
Well, no, I do you know something? I love Michael Myers, and obviously I'm a massive fan of Halloween. But that film made me wish Michael would just stay dead now. It was a nice ending for him. Well, it wasn't. I mean, like the ending. It was like, right, he's done now. But you know, of course they're going to reboot Halloween, and when they do, it'll be without Jamie Lee Curtis. I feel like this was their one chance and they've messed that up.
Well, that's it. Yeah, you know, like
I don't know if I'm too interested in the future without Laurie Strode. You know.
Yeah, without her as the character. Well, it'll probably get rebooted with another actress playing her. And then that's gonna have its own issues and
Halloween Origins.
None of that. Please don't. No, this were the truly best opportunity they had to finally close it and then say, right, that's the end of that story. And they messed it up. They failed, you know. And the reviews are reflecting that. You know, it's getting slammed online. I've not seen anyone say anything good about it yet.
I've seen things in the community and everything.
I'm sure
Again, it's very divided. Even the Rotten Tomatoes, it's like, well, it's 40%, but you know, and IMDb's 5 out of 10. It's really split in the middle. I think people do like that it did something different, but ultimately, doing something different's great, but not in the finale of this 40-year story that's about these two characters and making it about someone else. So, because we've been rambling about this film for so long, the battery on the camera just died.
Yep.
But to wrap it up, I want to know, what do you think about the Halloween canon now? So do you accept it as obviously John Carpenter's original '78 film and then this trilogy, or do you think we should stick with the old Halloween 1 and 2 that they did back?
Well, I reckon the way I'm going to go for it is Halloween 1, 2018, then jump back to Halloween 2. Because technically, Laurie were in the hospital, weren't she?
Yeah.
So in number 2, she were in the hospital, so technically it could run to there. And then that's the perfect ending for me.
And to be fair, with the nonsense that was in Halloween Ends, I'd believe something magical happened that made Laurie de-age, and then Halloween 2, you know. Yeah.
Apart from her age, 2018 fits to number 2 would probably go fairly well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, out of, going to the cinema, I've been twice this month to watch a couple of horror films, and you've got the choice of Halloween Ends or Smile, which I've also seen. And if you've not seen either of these movies, I honestly would advise you to skip Halloween Ends. I know you're going to go and watch it because you want to see the conclusion anyway, but go and watch Smile, because Smile was a fantastic horror film. You've not seen it yet, have you?
Not yet, no. I've yet to see Smile.
It's original, it's something different, it's done very well, it's absolutely covered in jump scares.
I've heard great things about it.
But, and I mean, in this day and age, jump scares get a bad rap. I love jump scares, I think they're fantastic.
Done well. I mean, Halloween Ends, I thought in the intro scene of Halloween Ends, there was a little small jump scares, but they seem to work with people.
I love a jump scare.
It gave it a bit of an atmosphere, so there's nothing wrong with a few jump scares.
Absolutely, and then obviously we've got Terrifier 2 to look forward to.
Oh yes.
Unfortunately, for us in the UK, they haven't brought it over here. I don't know why. Cinemas can't pick up and just have like a short run of showings for it, but for whatever reason,
even if it was selected, that would have been fantastic. But
so we're just going to wait for a good stream. Not that we'd purchase anything illegal, but as soon as it's available for us to watch, we will be watching it.
Yeah, we'll have to definitely do a review of that too.
I know there's some great reviews for that as well, isn't there? You know, everything seems to be positive.
There's a hype around the film that's very reminiscent of when The Exorcist came out. You know, you hear stories about people fainting in the cinema and all that.
Yeah, people being sick.
It's probably over the top, but who knows?
Yeah.
Damien Leone might surprise us, you know.
I mean, Terrifier does do a good job of like pushing gore to its absolute limits. So I'm excited for that one. But yeah, Halloween Ends, absolutely huge disappointment for me, and many of the fans. And like I say, I just feel really sorry for the super fans. But this is our opinion. You guys might have a different opinion.
Yes.
If you do, please, make it known, and maybe you can tell us the element of the story that we missed out on.
Because that's where we probably went wrong somewhere. But yeah, because I love hearing the other side of it as well. I mean, we're not fans of the film, but I like hearing the other side of it. Again, it had its pros and its cons. More cons than pros, but still, it's just a lot of cons. But yeah, to wrap it up. Let us know what you think down in the comments of Halloween Ends. Tell us what horror films you're looking forward to. Are you looking forward to Terrifier 2? Because we definitely are. And like, comment, subscribe, and all the rest of that good stuff. And happy Halloween.
Can I go back over there now?
Yeah.